Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. It's a beautiful day out. It just finished raining a little bit and it's kind of humid and cool, but I figure it's a perfect time because it's a little overcast to do some potting up. So my name's Soleil and I garden in mid-Michigan in a zone 5B, and I went to Home Depot on Memorial Day because oftentimes the one near me has some really great sales on plants, and they did. I got all of these proven accents for $2 a piece. Normally they are $4. They're about half off, which I thought was an awesome steal because I have these hanging baskets that I need to plant up. So I think these are going to work out really well. I'll talk a little bit about each plant as we plant them in the hanging baskets. But I've got 5 different hanging baskets, so let's get started on those, and then we'll just dig in and tell you all about each one. The first thing I'm going to do is dump some of this potting mix into this cement bucket. You can get these for I think I bought this one for maybe $5 or $10 at Home Depot. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to try to reuse some of the soil out of my hanging baskets, but I don't want to lose the moisture retentive properties, so I'm going to put that much in, and we're going to use some of the old. And this just kind of helps to, give a longer life to the potting soil that's in your baskets, because it tends to lose a little bit of its life each year. So we'll do a couple baskets at a time. And then I will also add some fertilizer in here. If anything is still in the pots, you definitely want to take that out. You don't want anything rotten in your pots. I usually try to make sure that there are no big roots or chunks of leftover plants in there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some fertilizer. Now you can use just about any type of plant food. This one is for feeding up to 3 months, which is about all I need to get me through the summer, including that this potting mix that I have also has some fertilizer already in it. So then I'm just going to kind of mix all of these soil and fertilizer together. And even though I've mixed some of this fertilizer into the soil, remember you can always fertilize on top if you forget this step during the rest of the year. All right, that looks good. Let's grab a pot. We'll fill it back up. Now, one of the other plants you'll see here that I have is this hanging basket, and this hanging basket was on clearance. It was half off, primarily because I think it didn't have any blooms on it, but that's just, if you know calibrachoas, they continue to bloom throughout the season, and it's a very pretty pink color. I don't know if some of the other ones might be a different color, but that doesn't matter to me. I'm going to use some of these. I'm going to take this hanging basket apart, and I have 3 hanging baskets that are going to be in the sun. So I'm going to hopefully, I don't know if there's 2 or 3 plants in here, but I'm going to hopefully use one of these as a centerpiece in each of the sun baskets. The first basket that I'm going to do is going to be a shade basket. Now, most of these are labeled as for sun, but the shade that I have, they have seemed to do well in the past. So what we're going to do for shade is we're going to do one of these, which is a Persian shield plant. And this one, they don't, the bad thing about these proven accents is that they don't have the size on them, so you actually have to look them up online when you go to buy them. The good thing about them is the price, right? So these are a little bit smaller of a pot. So again, this gets to be about this high and about the same width, so it's going to take up quite a bit of space as it grows on. But I'm going to use this one just over to the side. Make sure I get it in deep enough here. And then just to pop out some of that green color, because this is really a purple and green, we're going to use this sweet potato vine. And this one is called Sweet Carolyn Light Green. This one has some roots around the bottom I'm just going to pull out. And I'm going to put that one sort of over to the side. I'm going to kind of plant this as a triangle because there'll be 3 plants in this one. And what I'm going to do is plant this kind of at an angle. So if you look closely, you can see that instead of planting straight down, I'm planting out this direction. The roots don't really know which way is up or down, so that just gets it over the edge a little bit quicker. Next up is a nice bushy plant. This one is called Plum Daddy, and it is going to be a nice, beautiful purple. So I think this goes really well because we've got a green and purple plant with a nice light green and then this deep purple, more bushy plant. So this is going to be a foliage container, 100%. And I'm going to do a matching one of this as well. So I think that will look really nice over in the shady part of my bed. And after I get these planted and we hang them up, we'll show you what they look like in their new space. So I'm just taking this handle off because it makes it a lot easier to get this out of its basket. I'm hoping it comes out easily. All right. One thing you want to look for when you get these is if they have one of these at the bottom. It's kind of nice because it helps keep some of the water in, but it keeps the soil in and it lets the water through. All right, so let's see how many plants we have in here to be able to split up. I see one here, so that means there's probably one more on the other side, which would be ideal. Yep. All right. The easiest way to do this is probably with a hori-hori knife. But I just have to see where some of these branches are overlapping first. because Calibrachoa definitely have a tendency to spread themselves out. And I think actually I can do this with my fingers. All right. So we have number 1 here. Not too bad. I think I might have broken one branch, but that's okay. It'll be very nice in here for some color. And I can even trim this back, which I probably will because it is a little bit gangly, and that will help encourage a little bit bushier growth in the center. And then I think what will look really lovely with that is this beautiful Artemisia, which is called Silver Bullet, and this other sweet potato vine, which is going to be purple. So I think that's a really nice combo right there. Let's get that planted up. Always good to have a nice scoop, and I really like this one. It's kind of like an old soup ladle or something like that. Got a couple of different ones that I use. They all come in handy. This might actually be a little bit high, so I'm still going to break off a little bit more of the roots here. There we go. I like that a little better, but I'm going to turn it this way. You definitely want to make sure you can get as much soil as you can into your planters. I believe these are 16-inch planters. I think the 12-inch ones are a little bit too small. They definitely gas out on you pretty quickly in terms of the amount of water that they can hold. Especially as the plants get bigger, they tend to want more water. And the summer gets hotter as the days go on. So it helps to have a bigger planter. The bigger, the better, I think. If you're making hanging baskets, one thing that I do recommend though is waiting until you hang them up to water them, because otherwise they can be really heavy to carry and try to hang up. Just a little tip that I've learned over the years. All right, I think that one looks good. We're going to do another one like this, and then I have a couple other plants that I'm going to use for my third sun basket. These are super dry, so I'm going to have to make sure that I give these a really good water, because I'm guessing that this soil could be hydrophobic, which means that it won't want to retain the water even when I'm putting it onto it. And again, I do think I'm going to clip some of these back because they are pretty gangly. That will just help it come up from the middle a little bit again. And I just want to make sure I have some soil between the roots and the outside so that there's more room for the roots to continue to grow. Ooh, that one's pretty root bound and super dry also. Okay, number 2 is done. Let's get to number 3. This last pot that I have really has a lot of roots in it, so I'm just going to scrape it out. I'm not going to attempt to reuse any of this. This last pot is going to be the simplest of them all. It's just going to be a couple of nice, bright sweet potato vines along with this last calibrachoa. And I think that's going to keep it nice and simple. And this one's going to be a standalone basket. It doesn't have a pair kind of to it. So, and it's all by itself. So I think that's going to look nice and bright. It's going to be over my Rainbow Sensation Weigela that has some of these kind of chartreusey colors in it. So I think it'll be really pretty. And it does have part sun. So all of this will do well in that situation. So are you guys planting up any hanging baskets? If you are, what kind of plants do you use? And do you stick with the same kind of recipe for yours, or do you like to try new things each year? For me, because I tend to use clearance plants or things that are on sale, they're usually fairly different, but at the same time, there's only so many different types of annuals out there. So sometimes it's just a different color or maybe a different number of a certain type of plant. I really like the calibrachoa for potted baskets, primarily because they don't require as much water as some of the other plants like petunias. And I also really like the sweet potato vines because they grow so well, and I love the trailing habit that they have. I don't mind having a very simple planter, like just one type of plant in it either. I think sometimes simple can be better, especially if you have a lot of other things going on in the area where you plant it. Okay, so we're done with that basket, and again, that one's super simple. So I'm going to get these hung up, and then we will water them in, and I'll show you where they're at. Let's go. Well, here's a quick look at what we have after the containers have been planted in water. They're perking up really nicely, and I think the colors are going to be great. Sorry about that noise. There's a plumber at my next door neighbor's. So we have that one, and then over here we have the matching one, which is also going to be in the full sun, and that's going right in with some of the really great colors that are going to go right along with that, I think. And then let's go take a look at the part shade baskets. So I think these look really great here. The pop of the lime, sweet Caroline, sweet potato, along with the other deep colors are just going to be a really nice kind of set of colors in this area because we have a lot of the blue and green foliage. And what I do sometimes is because this one gets less light than the other one is I will actually swap the baskets out every once in a while just so they get about the same amount of light. Let's look at the part sun one. This is right over here as well. So again, this is the very simple planter. This one just has the calibrachoa and it has the sweet Caroline light green colored, and I think that's going to be really nice and not detract in any way from the hydrangeas that are in this bed. It will just help to provide that nice backdrop against the fence where there's no other real color. My husband really likes hanging baskets because it does break up the, you know, kind of blank expanse of some of the fence in the garden. And I just like them because they look pretty. Well, thanks everybody for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed planting up some baskets, and I'm interested to hear what you guys are planting up for your hanging baskets or if you have any pots that you're working on for the summer. Well, thanks again so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.